The gender pay gap in European Union stands at 13%. The reasons behind this are various: sectoral segregation, unequal share of paid and unpaid work, and, of course, pay discrimination. However, the largest part of the gender pay gap remains unexplained and can't be linked to worker or workplace attributes such as education, occupation, or the economic activity the person works for. So, how to tackle this issue? Well, more transparency in pay would help bring to light unjustified gender-based pay differences and understand the reasons behind them. To achieve this, in March of 2021, the European Commission published a directive proposal which will require organizations with more than 50 employees to publish their gender pay gap. Data, which is now in abundance, can help here. In this episode of TechTalk, we speak with Maria Bravo, Inclusion and Diversity Officer, and Laura Delgado Pardo, Senior Associate in Data and Analytics, about Data for Equality, a solution that can help organizations achieve a more equal workplace. We also talk about the benefits of gender pay equality, the challenges that still remain, and the role of tech in helping solve those challenges. Ready to embark on this incisive conversation? Let's go!
Welcome to a new episode of Tech Talk. This is episode 21, season 5, and this episode is called the one on data for equality. Welcome, Armin. How are you?
I'm doing great. The sun is finally shining. I can't be happier, actually.
Yeah, well, and it's quite hot, actually, for Luxembourg. I'm not complaining, but just saying.
It looks like the middle disappeared, it's either too cold or it's either too hot. And there's nothing in between unless you stay in, of course.
Yeah, that's right. So today with us, we have two awesome guests. Would you like to introduce them?
Well, of course. We have Maria and Laura. Maria and... Laura.
Hello.
Maria.
Maria, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself first?
Sure. Hello. Thank you for having us. We're very excited to be here. My name is Maria Alejandra Bravo. I am the Inclusion and Diversity Officer of PwC. I came to Luxembourg 6 years ago as a jeune fille au pair to learn French. And then I fell in love with the country. And I stayed here. I did my second master in psychology. And then when I was looking for an internship, I started at PwC, and the rest is history.
So you fell in love with Luxembourg?
Yes, I guess, coming from a country where there is summer, the 365 years of the day, the days of the year, of course. Yes. And finding a country with so many seasons and so cold.
for now.
Good. And also it's very different from my country. I mean, it's like completely the opposite.
Okay, very nice. What about you, Laura?
So I'm Laura Delgado Pardo. I'm part of the data analytics team in technology. I came to Luxembourg 4 years ago. And before to came to Luxembourg, I did my PhD in astrophysics. So when I finished my PhD in astrophysics, I thought okay, I wanted to do real changes in society that I don't need to wait 50 years to see the results. So I thought okay, what can be the same thing in the not academic world? And I decided to move to the data analytics and data science part. And because at the end, to analyze data from stars or data for finance or social data, it's practically the same. So it was okay, I will move to this new path of my life. And I came to Luxembourg and I applied for PwC and I'm here.
Yes. Just one question out of curiosity. Do people still confuse astrophysics with astrology when you introduce yourself?
Oh my
goodness. Some people ask me okay, and cancer, and it's like good for you.
Knew it.
I am cancer, by the way. Good for me. Not always. But okay. So the reason why you're here today is because you identified a problem. So can you tell our listeners what that problem is?
Okay, I think that I will answer to this question, right, Maria? So last summer, I was here in PwC lunching with one of my colleagues from the data analytics team. And we were like, okay, we are so lucky because in our team, we have like a half and half women and men. So it was like, okay, we have a balanced team. So we saw that in other teams, for example, in technology, that they are more tech people, there was not this
Diversity.
Yes.
Balance, yes.
Yeah, so it was like why in our team, okay, a girl that do it computer engineer, why the girl preferred to be in our team and not in other teams like, I don't know, cybersecurity. So we start to think about that, and we like trying to find some information. We thought, okay, we can see that, for example, that a woman prefer a profile in like in LinkedIn for one project, or like a one profile or other profile. And also we found that the European Commission will launch this new initiative that they will ask to the companies to show their gender equality and the gender pay gap. So it was like, okay, maybe not for a job, but maybe if you wanted to find a new job, maybe as a woman, I prefer to choose a company that have a small gender pay gap and not another one that maybe doesn't show.
Exactly.
So we thought like, okay, maybe we can do it something with this information. And this is how data for equality start to.
And the European Commission's directive, or whatever it is at the moment, it's for all the companies, or is there a certain number of employees that you need to have in a company to start reporting that?
Yeah, at the beginning it was supposed to be for companies above 250, but now they reduced, and every company that has more than 50 employees, so basically, like,
Wow.
yes, a very, very big chunk
Most of the economy.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's, well, if the...
Yeah, I get it. But
completely blank.
Can you tell us what are the benefits of gender pay equality? Even though I know this should be very obvious, but what we want to hear is that concretely, what does the science say on this?
Well, there are many. I think that, well, if you think a little bit further, you can find all the benefits that it has. But of course, as a business, first you're giving a statement about what's important to you and your company, about the transparency. You are also demonstrating your values and showing to the world that, yes, you might have a problem, but you're also willing to work on it to fix it. And I think that that's a very powerful statement. This, of course, can increase the efficiency and motivation among your employees. It improves employee morale, and it can attract top talent and retain the one you already have. It can also avoid legal issues, probably in the future, and costly penalties depending on the country that you're in. As an employee, because all of this is an employer, as an employee, this can also affect positively the engagement that you feel towards the company, and it can increase the psychological safety feeling that you have. It can also create a positive bias toward the management and a relationship of respect and trust towards your leaders. So as you see, it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and you say that it might avoid legal issues in the future, but there was a company recently in the news that was fined more than $100 million because, if I remember correctly, it got sued by one employee, female employee, for gender pay gap discrimination. And had to pay a huge sum of money to settle the lawsuit.
Oh, do you know in which country was it?
Sorry?
Do you know in which country was it?
Well, I don't want to single out any company.
Okay. Fair enough. Because that's what I say. It depends on the country, because there are already countries where it's mandatory to display your gender pay gap. So it could be.
Yeah.
You can say it, and then we'll add the beep.
There was this show where they like ask people like, "What's your name, surname, and so on," and then, "What are you by profession?" He's like, "I'm totally anonymous by profession." It will be the same.
Okay, so this question is again for you, Maria, I think. Could you give us and our listeners as well a bit of context on what is the gender pay gap situation in Europe? We already talked about the European Commission's directive, but maybe there is more, and also in Luxembourg.
Yes, of course.
Important, of course.
So according to Eurostat, the gender pay gap in the European Union stands at 13%, with data from November 2021, so quite recently. This meant that for every euro a woman makes 87 cents. And Luxembourg has now a privileged position as the country with the smallest gender pay gap, in Europe, with only 0.7%.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's quite high. While the biggest one goes to Latvia with 22.3%. Nevertheless, this shouldn't change, as we were talking about the directive. So in March 2021, the European Commission published a directive proposal for binding pay transparency measures, which was backed up this year by the European Parliament. So we could see that this is moving forward. I mean, we knew that this was already something that they had their eye on before COVID, but I guess that COVID has slowed things down, and now it's happening again.
There were other priorities.
So yeah, but there are countries that already have it, as we discussed before, like Switzerland is one of them. It's not part of the European Union, but it has it since 6 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
It's great.
And hopefully the gender pay gap will be reduced.
Yes.
So you've identified the problem correctly, and then you came up with the solution. What is it, and how did that happen?
So I think that was in October, the Exponential team proposed a challenge for here in PwC, because there are these entrepreneurship initiative here in PwC that allow the employees to build their own solution. So I choose my dream team in the company, and I choose one of my colleagues, like I am Alessandra Ministrini, that she is expert in market research and business intelligence. Also Jean Delanois, that she is expert in people analytics, so super important here. And also Eraldo Archipiati and also Christopher Rosa, that they are super good in communication and also in to put down to the earth the ideas, to build all the process from the creation of the idea. So I build my dream team, and we present this idea to different people here in the company. In this case, we decide to speak with the leader of innovation, in inclusion and diversity leader, that is Vincian, and she put us in contact with Maria. This is when Maria came to our life. And they know very well what is the situation in Luxembourg and also the needs of the clients. So this was perfect for us, because we came, as you see before, I have a lot of many ideas, like, okay, to came from to see, for example, the job offers, or to the gender pay gap, or also maybe the different because inside to a company also the proportion can be also important, because maybe the gender pay gap is small, but maybe there are more men's than women's in certain areas. So also the proportion was interesting. So we diversity is a big
it's a big topic.
Big topic. So they help us to tell us, no,
you need
to focus in something. Yes, and we focus in the gender pay gap, and this is how in reality data for equality
was
appear. Yes, and born. Yes.
Okay. And how does it work in practice? So what is it about? What does it do?
Yeah. So as I say, we focus in the gender pay gap. So It is a user-centric dashboard that we build to help the top management people to can know and understand where the gender pay gap live in their companies and how to make it smaller. So to arrive to this objective, that is this dashboard, what we do is that we use a certified software that take into account different aspects of the people, like education, years of service in the company, the responsibilities in the company, the function, the skills. They took all these characteristics and they say, okay, for the same people to have these characteristics, they have the same salary or not.
Mhm.
If they don't have the same salary, why? Normally, the characteristic that is not the same is the gender. So this is how we obtain the gender pay gap. So, but we don't only do that, because also we help to the client to clean all the data, to gather all the data, to the HR data, to put together to can build this analysis. Also, we do the analysis and we report in them. So we explain them the data, because, okay, you can have a lot of data. This is a problem with data always. You have hundreds of data, but if you don't know what is the information behind and what is the
Story.
the insights,
Yes.
you cannot do anything. So we translate the data for them. And later, if they want it, also our fabulous team, they can also build like some actions or
Yeah,
some.
we can deep dive and make a strategy of how to move from this gender pay gap towards something better. And of course, that at the same time impacts several HR topics like retention, like recruitment, because when you start moving in one of the aspects of diversity, normally all the others follow.
So it's a very broad, idea. Of course, the dashboard is presented in Power BI, but it can be something else. So yes, it's like and also something that is also, I think, that is important is like a user centric. So we wanted that also the users know how to use this dashboard. So also we asked to a UX designer to help us to make more user friendly and to make the dashboard as perfect as possible.
As functional.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
So clearly, tech has a role to play in the solution, but historically, how has it helped or discouraged gender pay gap?
This is your question, Armin.
Yeah, this is a very complicated question. I thought a lot about it.
Let's talk about ethics.
Yes. Well, let's see. I mean, technology, the thing about technology is that it can inherit human bias. I mean, it was found that in Google Translate is the case. The app has historically translated from Turkish to English. What you will write in Turkish, he's a doctor, he or she is a doctor, it will always get translated to the masculine part. While if you write he or she is a woman, it's a nurse. Sorry, I gave my joke away. It will always translate into the feminine part. So as you see, these bias that are linked to everything that we do, that we think, they can very easily go with technology.
But
So I think
it's funny because I speak Turkish. It's a
Really?
fun fact. Yeah.
Okay.
Not a lot of people know that. And Turkish, I really love it because it's one of the easiest language to learn because it doesn't have genders actually. And so it's one like of the most gender neutral languages. So I guess also that's where it comes from. Like if of course the professions are all gender neutral, like doctor, whatever. And when you translate it in English or whatever, you might have a
gender
disbalance somewhere.
Yeah.
So you think that something so small might not have an impact, but if you add all the small things that can be included into our biases, you get a very big gap. And at the end, that is what it goes in the collective conscience that we have as a society. And more specifically into a woman or a man is supposed to be. So I think that that's the biggest danger with technology, because at the end it's programmed by humans with their own ideas. On the other hand, without technology, It will be very laborious and prone to mistakes to make this kind of analysis. So I think that if you're alert enough and if you have many, many eyes looking at the same solution, like that's what we did with the dashboard, for example, you can minimize the translation of your bias into your technology. So that's why we didn't do this dashboard by ourselves, like just Laura and me talking one day, yes, let's do this. We pass it through many, many eyes, and they all spot different stuff that help get the dashboard.
Yeah, to filter out the different biases that you might not be even aware that is influencing you in
that's what their biases.
Design of the tool. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Another question for you, Maria. You ready? So, as an inclusion diversity officer, how do you see the potential of this solution?
For me, this is really the start of a transparency era in HR processes. I mean, something that I really like about the strategy that we apply here at PwC with inclusion and diversity is that we do use data to drive everything. Because yes, you can say, yes, you do a lot of events. Look, you have many women. But if you look at the data, the numbers, and they're going to tell you otherwise sometimes. And with that, you cannot refute them.
That's true.
They're literally just there. They're a fact. So what I would like that this kind of dashboard is that you can always add more data and information that can really serve as a differentiator in the strategies that you apply later. So with more KPIs to measure and even the possibility to have an overview. We were discussing that if clients decide to stay with us over a few years, we can do even predictive analytics because we also treat promotions in the dashboard. So if we gather enough data, we can also tell them, okay, look, this is where you have been, where you are now, and where you could be according to if you apply or not any action. So I think that it's very rich what you can get. And let's say that there is a lot of versatility in a tool like this. And that's what I think it makes it great.
Yes, because it's also a tool that you can also put in other type of project, and also you can add other things that maybe the client wanted to know. So and the data doesn't lie. So it's always something. As I say at the beginning, I will always prefer to be in a company that have a small gender pay gap than as another company that have a higher one.
Well, maybe
or
one
it
that
doesn't disclose that information.
Yes.
To have
I prefer one that discloses it instead of not.
Yes, because all of them say no. Our company is super diversity, but I
show
wanted
me
to
the
see
numbers. Yes. Exactly. Oh my God, Carla.
Yes.
But I think that also is something very good is that the dashboard will evolve. That's for sure. It will not stay with only the data that we're including now, but it can always go forward.
So I think that's a very good segue to the next question. So what is next actually for Data for Equality?
So we have this event that was the Dragon Den, and we didn't be the solution that win, but we already win because there was a lot of people interested in our idea. So as Maria said, a lot of people wanted to contact us, and also we show our idea to other people. So also some people from the ESG teams also there was interested on that, and we also showed to some clients that also they are interested. So we started to build the real product, because what we present for this challenge was a mock-up, and now we build a real product. Also thanks to the Exponential team, that they help us a lot. They put us in contact with the people that we needed. We also look in the company what was the legal things that we need to do it, how to go to the market, how to make some publicity. So they help us a lot to can build and to make this a real product. And of course, Bansian was always there as a sponsor, helping us to put this and move forward. So I think that it will have or I hope that this have a long life here in the company.
And what are the plans for the future for the tool?
Well, we hope that it has many clients. Yes. So yeah, for now we're just we have like the final product. We want to add more stuff that will come for the future. Of course, as we discussed in the previous question, it will really go towards the client needs. That's for sure. But for now we just want to promote it and to test it as much as we can. So like that, it will evolve nicely.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, while the data for equality is a great idea and step towards achieving gender pay equality in the workspace, the journey to get there is torturous.
Yes. My word.
Probably a long one, as you
Nice work,
mentioned.
Carla.
Yeah.
What challenges still remain and what changes still need to happen?
Well, do you know how long will it take to close the gender pay gap?
There's data.
Yes, there is data. There are estimations.
I'm an optimist, so I want to say by the end of the decade, at least in the EU.
Wow, that's very optimistic.
Oh God.
You got the disclaimer.
So the World Economic Forum 2021 Global Gender Pay Gap Report estimates that in average it will take 135 years
Oh my God.
for the women and men to reach parity in worldwide. But that was before COVID. But before COVID, it was 99.5. So COVID already added 30 years more to close the gender pay gap.
Really?
Yes, and
Wow.
there are
That's not good.
statistics that suggest that it can still widen by 5% because of the pandemic.
But why? How do you know?
Yes, well, we needed to stay at home, right?
Mm,
And who
I
does
see.
normally the work at home?
Yeah.
Who needs to be with the kids and teach them and cook for them and clean the house? Who
Mm.
has a most sacrificable career, right?
Yes, exactly. Say no more.
Exactly. So as you can see, this is a very fragile and long process. I would say torturous indeed. The biggest challenge that I see is that this is a historical issue, right? So women took longer to get into the labor force. And when they did, they were underpaid and underexperienced. So I think that at some point there was some knowledge transfers from men to men about how to negotiate salaries, for example, about how to be a presence at work. That for, well, lack of experience, I will say women did not have that. So, and sadly, women still face like the pregnancy penalty. This means that you're being passed up for a promotion because you're pregnant, or experiencing discrimination or lack of opportunities while pregnant, or facing difficulties re-entering the workforce after you're pregnant. So you see, it's a very long process.
Yes.
Before, during, and after. Furthermore, go ahead.
No, just saying you might have more than one kid. So I think
Yes,
this repeats.
exactly. Yes. Exactly. So furthermore, women around the world are still faced with a disproportionate share of unpaid care and domestic labor, such as child rearing and household responsibilities. I mean, there was a study that says, I think that it was done here in Luxembourg, that women estimated work 16 hours in household stuff, while men only did 8. So yeah. It's half of what you do. So systemic problems like that can lead lower earning potential for women because it prevents them from focusing on their careers with the same attention that men do. All of the factors, of course, contribute to the gender pay gap, even if nowadays we are learning how to ask for a promotion. We're learning how to negotiate our salaries. We're learning all of this, but we're in disadvantage here.
Yeah. And it
so
takes
we
time.
need all the allies that we can get. So yeah, I think that that is a systemic change that needs to happen. We're working through it, but as you see, it's a very, very long process.
It's still very positive to know that actually technology has a positive role to play in decreasing the gender pay gap.
Hopefully it will accelerate the equality process.
Yes, I hope to. As a woman,
Yeah,
exactly.
I
Let's
hope.
not get another pandemic though.
Exactly, please. No.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was very, very insightful for us.
Yes, it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yes.
And
Thank you
good
very
luck
much.
with the data for equality.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
hope it flies smoothly. Not
Us
torturously.
too.
Yes,
Us too.
it will be.
Yes. So thank you. This is TechTalk, technology made simple
over a cup of coffee.
Exactly, or whatever drink you prefer. I don't know, Maria?
Water.
Water? Okay. Laura?
An infusion?
An infusion? Not sangria?
No sangria.
Okay, thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's all for today. This is Tech Talk, technology made simple over a cup of coffee. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode.